Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the month of March. And March is important because now we are headed towards the eclipse season. And as I always say, as an astrologer, eclipses are one of the most powerful tools for prediction that we have. And what I want to say with eclipses, there's always something that's revealed, something that comes out of the dark. And this affects us on a global level as well as in our personal lives. So I'm going to have you thinking about what this eclipse can mean for you, because we can go back historically and see when the last time we had this eclipse season in the sign of Rahu being in Pisces and Ketu being in Virgo. But before I proceed, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter where you can get all of my predictions delivered to your email address absolutely free every week. Go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're there, check out my Patreon page. With my Patreon page, you will get exclusive videos and we will be in communication because I have some amazing classes now with Patreon. One of them is Ask Your Astrologer. And every week, live, you get to ask me questions for an hour's time, just question and answer. Also, we have the Shooting Stars class. They are representative of how we can really attune ourselves to our spirituality and improve, make our lives better, consequently affecting the world. So check all that out. Go to galacticcenter.org. So let me continue on talking about what you're going to be able to expect for the month of March. Now, starting out with the month of March, we have Saturn is incredibly strong. And as I have been pointing out, Saturn is the planet of cause and effect. And basically, it deals with karma. So what is due will come to you. Everyone has to atone to the power of Saturn this month, because Saturn is the planet that is the final dispositing planet. All the planets by their sign rulerships lead to Saturn. Saturn is all powerful right now. And another planet that is very interesting this month is Mercury, because for most of this month, Mercury is in the sign of Pisces. Now, this is actually the worst sign for Mercury to be in because it is said to weaken its power. But in reality, I always think of Mercury as how we think. But in Pisces means we're not thinking logically, we're thinking outside this world. It's like when imagination becomes extremely strong. But at the same time, it's hard to focus and there's a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstandings. Mercury is also going to align with Rahu. And Rahu is part of the eclipse patterns. What are eclipses? When you have a full moon or a new moon, and they're tied up with Rahu and Ketu. And Mercury is definitely a part of this. So the way we think, the way we communicate, the way we share information, it may become messed up. So you've got to be clear. You've got to be focused on what you're trying to express and what you're trying to do this month. I'm going to talk about this, but it appears that there is a lot of information, because Mercury rules information, Mercury rules the media, communications of all kinds. And it is being suppressed with Mercury being tied up with the eclipses, for one thing, and being debilitated in the sign of Pisces. So there's an intensity. Another thing, as Mercury aligns with Rahu this month, it will make people pretty much obsessive compulsive with how they're thinking and what they're doing. So watch this. Behavior is going to be off the charts, which is not uncommon these days, right? So I want to talk about March 3rd, because around this time we can expect some extreme social unrest, fighting, violence, because on this day, Mars and K2 are in an aspect to each other. They're in a trine. K2 sends trines, so they're connected. And this can deal somewhat with terrorism, with attacks, with warlike behavior. But what I'm feeling is that there could be some deep sadness around the world, because Mars, which is exalted at this time, meaning it is its full strength and power, which has its good notes and its bad notes. The good notes is it's giving all of us more willpower, more drive, more ambition, more courage. But at the same time, around March 3rd, Mars is at a particular portion of the zodiac that it is debilitated in the Navamsha, the D9. Now, I don't expect very many of you to understand what I just said, but just trust me. It means on around March 3rd, you can expect some social unrest, some problems on a global scale. And I think that there's some sadness that overtakes the world in some way. So lay low around that date. Now, as I said, Mars is strongly placed throughout this month, except for that area of time around March 3rd. But till the 15th, Mars is in Capricorn, 15th of March. And this means get everything done that you can before the 15th, because then Mars is going to go into Aquarius, and that's not a very good sign for Mars. It is ruled by Saturn, and another thing that's starting to come into play in the second half of the month is that Mars is starting to align with Saturn, and this will mean setbacks, delays, and problems. And Mars is basically in a sign for about 6 weeks. So Mars will be in Aquarius from March 15th till April 22nd. So look out. During that time, we can expect a lot more difficulty. So you have a few weeks in the beginning of the month to get things done before things start to get bogged down and more serious. And we're approaching the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, towards the end of the month. I'll get to that. Because of these alignments and Mars coming into the sign of Aquarius, I think money matters will be difficult. There's going to be a lot less spending. Things are starting to catch up. All the spending that's been going out, people are starting to be more concerned, and they're going to start to pull back on their spending. And Mars being the planet of contention and violence and being strong, and particularly when it does go into Aquarius, you will see people being more argumentative. And one thing I have noticed since Mars is here in Capricorn, and its intensity when it goes into Aquarius, people seem to be more judgmental. Now, when people are more judgmental, that simply means that people are not happy. And therefore, they look for outside things to blame their unhappiness on. And that's when people get more judgmental, more angry, starting to direct their energy outwardly to others. It's starting to heat up. You're going to see these reactions not only individually, but globally. So there is a lot more aggression heating up globally. So the energy is building, and what this is also causing is even a deeper divide worldwide through anger, frustration, wars, violence. And in the United States, we can expect a deeper divide as these presidential elections put gasoline to the fire. More is going to start heating up as we get closer to November. It is going to be insane. Wait and see. So let's talk about the second half of this month when we start moving towards this lunar eclipse. Now, the lunar eclipse happens March 25th. And there's a solar eclipse that happens in April 8th. So the 2-week period between March 25th and April 8th is the Sirius eclipse season. And this represents things will be out of control. They always are when you're in an eclipse season. Just listen. You'll hear more sirens. You'll know about more catastrophes. You'll see more storms, more violence. It's just the 2-week period, twice a year, that things become so heated up and so intense. So what happens is first we're having the lunar eclipse, which sheds the light about something that is about to be exposed. So much is coming out. You're going to see. And one thing I do know about these eclipse seasons is it's not just that 2-week period. And you're going to think I'm stretching it, but truly this is for real. That around the times of eclipses, which remember we have 2 a year, 6 months apart, a solar and a lunar eclipse, and the solar eclipse is the new moon, the lunar eclipse is the full moon. And what they are is when they are combined with the nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, coming together with the sun and the moon, one by opposition and one by conjunction. So the opposition is the full moon. That is when the sun and the moon are opposed to each other. But the sun or the moon has to be with Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu are always, and remember Rahu is the north node of the moon and Ketu is the south node of the moon. These are points in space that really what they're all about is when the sun and the moon and earth align. When they align, then they cause shadows. What are the shadows? The eclipses, where the darkness and the revelations and things that are exposed that come out. This is profound. Now, what you're going to find is that around the eclipse period, the nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, actually become still. They're always moving slightly, but they stay at the same degree for 3 months. And then they have a very erratic motion where they move very fast some months when it's at the opposite time away from the eclipse season time. So for 3 months, when you're using the true nodes, Rahu and Ketu stand still. So this whole month of March, you will see Rahu is 21 degrees of Pisces and Ketu is 21 degrees of Virgo. Now, the moon is going to conjunct Ketu. So sometimes you have a full moon where the moon conjuncts Rahu. As a matter of fact, that will be happening in the fall season when the second period of eclipses happen. So, and when I say fall, yes, I'm talking about October, September, not, I realize that I have people in Australia and South Africa that could be watching. Seasons are reversed. But aside from that, so right now the moon is with Ketu. And Ketu will instill fear in people. Ketu can be fear. And Ketu is losses. So to have the moon, the full moon, which is a lunar eclipse with Ketu, is probably the more difficult one. But let me just say this. In the sign of Virgo, Virgo deals with health and healing. This is very important to understand. And with it being in Virgo, with Ketu, there could be another health scare. This is what could come out of the darkness. And I want you to know not to be scared. But of course, people will be full of fear because K2 is fear. And for this deals with the world health and healing. And I say that because not only do we have this lunar eclipse in Virgo, but I also noticed at the same time, while Mercury is in Pisces, at the time of the lunar eclipse, which actually happens, it's happening March 25th, what I see is on that day, Mercury will be at 29 degrees of Pisces. And this means that it's Gandanta, last degree of a water sign, first degree of a fire sign. Mercury means people are acting uncontrollably erratic, irrational, and fear-based. So there is so much fear. There could be an outbreak of war or contention dealing with health issues. So another thing that I've been seeing, why I keep thinking this could deal with the health issue. Now, I can't imagine another lockdown, no, but people will be concerned. And a lot of this deals with also what's coming out of this is going to be a major awakening with how we heal the human body. There are so many things out there that are coming to the surface of how we can heal, and cures for disease that I think have been suppressed. Why? Well, you know why. It's always money, isn't it? So the drug companies, the pharmaceuticals, all these things that are tied into the governments making money, they're not going to release the miracles and the things that are out there. But what I want to instill in all of you is to do your own research, because there is a new awakening coming about with the energetics of healing, dealing with energy and vibration. This is all coming because additionally, we have Saturn in the nakshatra Shatabishak, and Mars is going to come and align with Saturn in Shatabishak. That nakshatra, you've heard me say this before, is the 100 healers. And it deals with hard to cure diseases. But it's coming to the surface, it's bubbling to the surface, all of these new modalities that will soon appear that will help us understand the human body and how it heals, and take in all these new modalities that are just coming out. Now, another thing that's exciting news. Another thing that I think is exciting news is that this nakshatra is also called the Sky Watcher. And the Sky Watcher deals with everything to do with the heavens. When I say heavens, I actually mean space. So it deals with astronomy, it deals with astrology, and it also deals with what's out in space. All the technology and the aliens that have information that can help us. It's all coming to the forefront. Now, what an exciting, wonderful time. And I think this year, there is a huge awakening concerning alien life and what it's all about. And if we will allow it, to not be afraid of it, it can be of great benefit to us. But we have to open and know and believe the truth that has been bubbling up. But people keep pushing it down due to what? Fear. Fear of what's coming to the forefront about alien life, and the fear about disease will bring upon us a new age of healing. Now, this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction I keep talking about is they're coming together. They're closer than ever before in a long, long time. And therefore, they're going to conjoin exactly on April 20th. But they are getting so close right now, we're starting to feel the alignment and the awakening that it is bringing about. And my prediction too is that astrology is going to be more accepted in mainstream, as it should be. But people have never given it the credibility of what it's truly about. It is a science. It is not just knowing a sun sign. It is a mathematical science. And when you truly study astrology, you will understand really the workings of the universe, because it is so profound. It is so deep. And that's why I chose Vedic astrology to learn, and the learning goes on forever because it is so in depth. But it is the true placements of where the planets are in our heavens. How can we disregard this, where Western astrology is not the true placements of where the planets are? So there is so much to come about with the discoveries of astrology. You will see that this year it's going to begin. It will start to become mainstream. Now let me talk a little bit more about this eclipse, because this eclipse, remember when I'm talking about eclipses, I know I've said so many times what they are, but it's when Rahu and Ketu come together with the sun and the moon. Now, Rahu and Ketu go through the entire zodiac of 12 signs every 18 and a half years. But they stay in a particular sign for a year and a half. So the very last time that Rahu was in Pisces and Ketu was in Virgo was around the year of 2005. So I want you to think back. What happened in 2005 in your life? Because that's the time that will indicate what you can be looking at, that will come together and be revealed in your own personal life. What was happening for you in 2005? Revelation should come to you, and it will give you information about what you can expect this year. All right? And actually, Rahu will be in Pisces and Ketu will be in Virgo all the way till May of 2025. Okay, so that's how long we have that these things will unfold with this eclipse energy. But it's going to really begin around the end of this month that you're going to start seeing things and understanding things that you didn't know before. There's secrets coming out about you and the world. So another thing is, out of this darkness, remember, listen to your dreams, because dreams are when you truly connect to your subconscious mind. And that speaks volumes of what you're here to see. Now this month, like I said, will be serious because Saturn is the most influential planet during this month. So I want you to know Saturn is another planet that actually deals with fear, but it also deals with organization, discipline, and focus. And we got to get going. We have to start realizing what we're here for and our purpose in life. Don't let the fears of society and the world overwhelm you, especially about the health scares or the scares about war and violence coming up. Yes, this is going to be an incredibly intense year. And who doesn't even know that it's not even orchestrated by governments or societies politically? We don't know these things, but we have to be solidly based in our own being and not let these fears that the media puts out. I mean, Mercury's going to be in Pisces with Rahu, and it's going to be with the eclipses. So it is where Mercury is next to the sun. When we have this lunar eclipse, remember it is the moon opposed the sun, and Mercury is with the sun in Pisces. And Rahu will make things out of control. And another thing is, Neptune is going to be with the sun this month. Neptune is the planet that can also deal with fear and disease, and basically misunderstandings and misrepresentation and delusional behavior. And things will be hidden. But if you look carefully, you will see what the reality and the truth is. But you have to be open to everything. But don't be deluded by the fear that I feel like the mass consciousness is going to be taken over by the, I don't know if it's politics or governments around the world, but they're instilling a fear to make people irrational and not acting normal. People are consumed with fear. So here is my message for you this month. You have to come from a place of trust. Remember, fear breeds disease and disease breeds fear. Now, if it's about this, but I think it's also going to be about some violence and violent events happening as well, all together. But you have to know, and I don't mean wish, hope, pray. You have to know. You have to come from a place of trust and knowing that you are protected, that you will be okay. Because when you are a serious light worker that wants good, intention for good on the planet, which I know you all do, you will be protected, because you are well needed in this world to help others come from a place of trust and knowing that you are protected. If you get sucked into all of this crazy emotion swirling around you, you can get sucked into anything. Be strong, know you're protected, and trust that the divine is protecting you. Because when you know this, I can absolutely promise you, you will be protected. None of this insanity is going to affect you. Go with it, know it, and work with it. Come together with other like-minded people that can help illuminate and heal the world from all of this mass chaos. And mass chaos is what happens around eclipses, storms, volcanoes, earthquakes. All of that becomes more prevalent within really this 3-month period, March, April, May. But let's be calm, let's be secure, and let's know and trust that you are divine and you are protected. That is my message to you this month. So with that, if you would like to learn more about me, you can always go to my website, galacticcenter.org. And remember, I have a whole school of Vedic astrology. If you would love to learn Vedic astrology with me, go to my university website, check it out, universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.